In this video, we'll cover cron jobs, which are scheduled tasks on the Ubuntu Linux server. Now, good system administrators will always be necessary in an organization, so don't worry, you have job security. But the best system administrators know that automating tasks not only helps them, but it also brings more value to the company or the organization that you're working for. So, using cron jobs to schedule tasks can be very helpful to an organization, especially in the event that you are sick or unable to come in for work. You can have your backups automated. You can have all sorts of server-based tasks automated so that you don't have to do them. And so that you don't have to do them manually. And of course, it's helpful for the system administrator as well, so that you can get on to other more important things. So let's dive right in by taking a look at cron jobs as they are set up on your default Ubuntu Linux server. Change directory into etc. And then if we list the contents, you'll see over here several cron folders. Now, the cron daily folder, the cron hourly folder, the cron monthly folder, and the cron weekly folder are presets that come included with the default installation of Ubuntu Linux, so that you don't have to set up basic cron jobs manually. By placing scripts in these folders, for example, if we were to cd into the cron.daily folder, and then if we were to place something in here, it would automatically run on a daily basis. In a similar way, if we were to place a script into the cron.hourly folder, then that script would run every hour. And if we placed it in the cron.monthly directory, it would run every month, and so on and so forth. So you can see those presets are there, saving you the difficulty of setting up your cron jobs manually. However, we will cover setting up custom cron jobs because they're so powerful and so important to creating a well-oiled sort of machine here for whatever organization or company you are working with. If you simply need a script to run every day, or every hour, or every month, or every week, you can just place it in the proper folder, and then the machine knows to run everything that's in that folder, in that directory, however often is specified, daily, hourly, monthly, or weekly. Now, that can make things very simple for you. If all you need are to run some tasks on a daily, hourly, monthly, or perhaps weekly basis, then you've already got that set up for yourself here with the default Ubuntu Linux server installation. However, we want to dig in a little bit to the cron tab or the cron table, so that we can learn how cron jobs are actually working, so you can dig into how they're actually functioning, and that way you can set up more complex or complicated cron jobs if need be. If you want to set up a cron job for the current user, in this case Cody, I'm logged in as Cody. If you want to set up a cron job for Cody, and we're assuming that Cody has the permissions that are appropriate to run the command, then all we have to do is type crontab and then the E option. If we were to run crontab E with sudo in front of it, we would be editing root's crontab. And that would mean, of course, that everything that was running there would be running as root. Now, I happen to think that that's quite convenient, and that way you don't have to actually worry about permissions, but at the same time, to keep everything organized and to maximize security, if a user does not need root privileges, or in this case, if a task, a cron job, does not require root privileges, then it can simply be run as a regular user as long as the user has the privileges that are required for that command. Now, taking a look here at the cron tab file, we can see a legend with the final line that is commented out. It says M, H, DOM, MON, DOW, and then command. This is telling you how the cron tab is expecting for you to put in the information, to put in and specify first the minutes, then the hour, then the day of the month, then the day of the week, and then finally the command that you would like to run. Now, along with specifying the minutes, hours, day of the month, and day of the week that the command should be run, you can also use the asterisk symbol as a wildcard. So, for example, if I were to set up a cron job like this, which, by the way, you wouldn't want to do, then every minute of every hour, of every day of the month, of every day of the week, in other words, all the time, continuously, the server would be running the command service SSH start. Now, that would be kind of silly since we have SSH running and we wouldn't need it to be started over and over and over and over again. However, let's say that we wanted SSH to restart at the, let's just say every Monday. And so here we're on day of the week where we have an asterisk, and instead of an asterisk here, let's put a 1. It's important to know that Sunday on day of the week is going to start out as 0. So 0 is Sunday, 1 is Monday, 2 is Tuesday, 3 is Wednesday, and so on and so forth. So in this case, we want service SSH restart to run every Monday. Okay? So as long as it's Monday with this code right here, for the entire duration of Monday, this command would be running. Well, we don't want that. That's kind of silly, okay? We do want it to run every month and every day of the month, assuming that it's a Monday. However, we don't want it to run every hour and every minute of every hour. So let's go ahead and modify this by specifying a 6, which will be 6 a.m., and then a 0 for the minutes, so that we now have a cron job set up to run at the top of the 6 o'clock hour at 6 and 0 minutes every Monday of every month and on every day of the month. So every Monday at 6 a.m., our SSH service will be restarted using this line in our cron tab. A quick interjection here. So I just said that service SSH restart would run when in fact it would not. And the reason it wouldn't run is because that command requires root privileges. So always remember that if you need root privileges for the command, you'll want to set that up in root cron tab using sudo crontab e, the sudo in front there, specifying that you're editing root cron tab. Or if you're using the directories cron daily, cron weekly, or cron monthly, those are going to run as root as well. So anything you place in those folders will run as root. But in this particular case, and it was my point, I just did never come and circle back around to it. Instead, I said that this would in fact run, and I just want you to be aware this particular command would not run properly. It would attempt to run it, but it wouldn't actually restart the SSH service because you need root privileges in order to do that. And this is placed in the Kodi cron tab, which would have my permissions and would not have root's permissions. So that being said, let's get on and back to it. Now let's work with another example here. Let's say that we want to copy some files. Let's say this is perhaps a backup on the server. And so if we want to copy files at a particular time, let's just say Friday after the organization closes, and we'll say that they close at 5 p.m. So let's say 55 minutes after 5 p.m., which is going to be 17 in military time. If you were to put 5 there, it would assume 5 a.m. So we've put 17 for 5 p.m. And we want this to run every day of the month, every month. We want this to run on Friday. So that's going to be 5 for Friday. Remember that Sunday is 0. And we would then want to run the command cp, and we'd want to copy, let's just say something out of my home directory. Home, Kodi, original. I'm just making this up for the example, for you to see an example here. And we want to move that to mount backup Kodi home. On the 5th day of the week, which is Friday, every single month, that's specified here with the asterisk for a wildcard, saying every single possible month, every possible day of the month, and then 17 for the hour in military times and 55 after. So at 5:55 p.m. every Friday, this command right here would run. Now, in closing out this video, please remember that if you want to run jobs as root, then you would need to first, let me destroy the changes. I do not want to save that to my cron tab. First, you would need to type sudo. And this is also very important because often as a system administrator, you get in the habit of typing sudo, and really you end up typing sudo for things you don't necessarily need to type sudo sometimes. It's not a best practice. I'm just telling you that's something that happens when you're working on these servers all day, every day throughout the week. And so if you accidentally type in sudo crontab E, then you might be a little bit confused and not understand that you are modifying root's cron tab. So if you use sudo, you're then going to be modifying the cron tab for root. And of course, anything put in there will run with root privileges. If you simply type cron tab E, then you will be modifying that user's cron tab. So that's cron jobs in a nutshell. Remember that you have these directories here in your etc. directory: cron.daily, cron.hourly, cron.monthly, and cron.weekly, that you can place items such as scripts in, and those scripts will then run on a daily, hourly, monthly, or weekly basis. And of course, if you need to do further customization, you do that through the cron tab.